What's going on, guys? Ahoy here. I just want to share with you guys a quick update on Metacade. So as we see here, there's a timer, there's a countdown timer right here when you're going to be able to claim your tokens and at the same time also be able, to sell your tokens on Uniswap because it's going to be listed there at the same time that you're able to claim your tokens. So depending on what your strategy is, your trading strategy here is for this token, then you may need to have your Uniswap tab already ready if you plan to do some selling right at launch. But of course, if your strategy is to hold long term and not sell, then you don't have to really worry about this, right? You guys can just claim your tokens and just hold if that's your strategy. But another piece of news also that I want to share with you guys is this article that came out today on April 5th. So it says that Metacade announces partnership with Metastudio ahead of highly anticipated Uniswap. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, okay, but what is Metastudio? So this is Metastudio's right here on their website, and everything is kind of written in like Latin. But here is some of the things that they're working on, some games, and who is the team. The good thing is that at least they are also docs, as well as Metacade, there's docs. And that's one thing I like to see on the project, that at least the team, they get to show who the team is, especially on projects when they're raising funds. So it's always good to see who they are. And here we have some of their names, a little bit on their background, which they have worked on big projects, by the way. All right, like Spyro the Dragon, Digital Domain and DreamWorks, Sony, Disney. We have other here people even getting rewards and so forth, working on projects on DreamWorks video for like Shrek 2, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, Pirates of the Caribbean, and so forth. So they're bringing people that have, they're experts and they have experience already working with either graphics, design, and gaming. And so this is good to see. Now, one thing interesting about this studio, which I'm not going to go in depth on how they work, but it's just a different way of them trying to raise funds and how they raise funds for their projects. So they don't really necessarily have a cryptocurrency. Instead, what they do is NFTs. So they have they sell NFTs and pre-sales and stuff like that for NFTs instead of using tokens. At least that's what I was able here to understand on about their white paper here. So like it says here in the bottom, participants can mint shrines and golems, which will grant a percentage revenue share at Metastudio. So pretty much participants, like players like you and me, we can go ahead and just mint shrines, and then we can stake them into golems, and those golems are going to allow us to get a certain percentage of revenue share from Metastudio. So whatever Metastudio sells, anything that they are able to sell, then we're also going to get a percentage. And also I wanted to share with you guys here some of their projects as well. They have Shenlong right here, which was released by the Orbit team. So it wasn't, Metastudio, and this was back in 2016. And this was just a game that it was released to Android, iOS, and Windows phones. And also they have some other mobile games as well that they have released in the past. Here also in 2016, they claim that they have it has been downloaded over 100,000 times. Also Retro Machina. So we have this other game that has been also from Orbit Studio. It seems like some of the team were working on Orbit Studio, and they have it's also released on Switch and on Stream and PlayStation. So this is very good to see. So we go here on PlayStation, we are able here to see. Of course, this is in Portuguese. I believe we can also change this into English or whatever language that you speak. But yeah, pretty much it gives us here some information. Let's go back here to the white paper, and on this right here, the Rune Realms Rebirth. And like I mentioned earlier, the participants like you and me were able to mint shrines, and we can stake golems, and we can earn a percentage of the revenue that Metastudio generates. So how does this work a little bit? Before we get into how this works, just really quick, I'm not gonna read this whole thing, okay? I'll probably read it, do this on a separate video, but just so you guys can have an idea, they explain here how in the world of gaming, how they're able to raise funds, capital, how it works with the publisher, and it gives you a brief explanation on each scenario, if it's a co-publishing, if it's a publisher, how they're able to raise capital and funds to make these games, and how they split, you know, the earnings and all that bunch of stuff. Very similar to like royalties in the music world and film. So that's a whole different thing. But I just want to focus on the very last paragraph, which is right here, which they say that conducting an NFT launch enables us to bypass the need for a publisher. Rather than using the funds for a single game, we can invest in the studio's overall development for faster growth. This approach also allows us to uphold our creative vision and prioritize the most critical stakeholders, the players. So this is, I mean, it sounds good, and I do agree with this a little bit, because again, the most critical stakeholders are the players in all the sense of the words. You know, not if you're just a participant minting, the shrines like they mentioned here, and then staking them and getting golems, which is the actual golems is going to produce a percentage. It's going to tell you, it's going to like allow you to earn a percentage of whatever they're generating of revenue. But pretty much, if the game is not interesting enough, game players are not going to come back and play, because why would they play a game that is not, there's no incentive to play, because it's either not fun, or, you know, there's just really no point for them when there's so many other games that they can play. And, you know, those are things that we need to keep in mind for everybody, whether you're wanting to invest in this and if you're a developer. So yeah, also another thing that I wanted to show here is that here they also have like a diagram, and it kind of explains how this actually works. But just to have an idea, like I mentioned earlier, to start, it says here shrines. To start, you will need to mint a shrine. Shrines allow you to stake your golems to activate the revenue share percentage your golems hold. But here below, what I like about this is that it kind of make it simplified. There's also, it gives you here examples of how this works, and tells you here the details of the golems and percentages from common, rare, unique, epic, legendary. And also here's the diagram, so it kind of explains to you how all of this works, which is really great. But again, I don't want to cover that here today. I just want to go back here to Metacade. That Metacade, they are, it seems like, partnering up with Metastudio. So it looks like Metastudio is going to be helping them on creating these upcoming games. And yeah, so we just have to cross our fingers and hope that they actually do develop some very good games, interesting games that players will be incentivized to come back and play, whether if it's just for fun or because they want to mint some of these NFTs. And again, just keep in mind that we're just right under 24 hours. Maybe by the time you guys watch this video, it's already less than 24 hours to claim your tokens. And depending on your trading strategy, you might either, if you want to hold, then, you know, then you don't have to really worry much about this. But if you plan to perhaps sell either all, part of it, or whatever your trading strategy is, then you might want to have that Uniswap already tab open on your computer to, you know, do some trading once this token is already listed on their exchange. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all of your support. If you find this video to be helpful and informative, make sure to like, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and hit the bell so you never miss another update.